All right, hello and welcome. My name is Gediminas, and today we've got a training about social media. We're going to talk about 5 steps for social media excellence. And this training is what I've learned from my mentor, the social media guru, Fraser Brooks, at the recent GoPro conference. And I want to share that information with you because I am 100% certain it will be useful for you guys to learn that stuff as well. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, grab this whiteboard of mine. Okay, so what are these 5 steps for social media excellence? Well, step 1 is content. You might have heard content is king, right? So content is what's going to help you to grow your audience, is what's going to attract people to you, etc., right? Because if you're not producing any content, if you're not putting anything on your social media, it's a mistake. Even though we know that 80% of the time we should be spending prospecting, i.e. contacting people, and only 20% we should be spending marketing, which means putting some content out there. But if you don't put any content out there and you start messaging people, very often people will click to check you out. They'll click on your profile to check you out. And if they come on your profile and there's nothing there, they can't really get an image of who you are. They can't really understand what type of person you are. What do you like? What don't you like? What's your character, right? But if they come onto your timeline and if they see a bunch of posts, they can get to know you without getting to know you. You know what I mean? Without actually talking to you. So it helps all around to have some sort of content. And of course, the most effective piece of content, the most effective way of putting content on social media is live video, right? Facebook Lives. For me, for the last 835 days, I went live on my timeline every single day, either once, twice, or 3 times on different places across my social medias. And it has really, really helped me a lot with my business. So a lot of people are scared of doing Facebook Lives, and I level with you, right? A lot of people are scared. I was scared. I remember when I first started doing Facebook Lives, I had those butterflies in the belly, but I'm going to give you a really good strategy to overcome your fear of lives. Do about 800 videos. After you've done about 800 of them, you know what? You stop being afraid of it. So it's all through practice, right? When you keep doing something, you stop being scared of it, right? And with your live, it should be pretty simple, but make sure you always use a title, right? Because that's what's going to hook people on, right? They get hooked when they're scrolling on the social media by seeing your title. Never go live without actually having a title, because a lot of people are not going to watch your live because they don't know what it's about. Maybe it's about tires, maybe it's about makeup, right? God knows what you're talking there. So always have a good title that's going to hook people on, that's going to get them on your video, right? Then keep them on, right? So delivery, how do you deliver? With high energy. Energy is everything, right? You have to be excited. You have to be enthusiastic, right? So that it attracts people. It pulls people in, right? Because if you go out and go, hello, how are you, right? People will fall asleep watching your video, right? And then, of course, to get them to come back onto your videos, you need to be consistent, right? You need to be doing it all the time, because if you do a live and then do nothing for a month, that's not really good, because people want that content consistently, right? So you don't have to be crazy like me and do, 800 days of lives every single day, but you should have some sort of a regularity, right? Maybe, once a week, maybe twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, but some sort of consistency, right? Have a clear vision, right? What do you want to achieve with these lives? What's the purpose of them, right? What's the strategy behind it, right? Have some sort of a content plan. I know when I first started doing lives and I committed to do one every single day, I grabbed a notebook and I just wrote down, as many titles, as many ideas, what to talk about on my videos, right? I just went through all of my notebooks, etc., and thought, what could I share? What did I learn that I could share? And I wrote down all the titles, and I remember I wrote down about 139 or 129, something like that, topics for different Facebook Lives, right? What could I talk about? Different ideas. And when I wrote that down, it removed that stress, because now I wasn't worried that, what am I going to talk about tomorrow? I would just grab my notebook, open it up. Oh, I can talk about that. Or I can talk about this. Or I could talk about that, right? So it makes your life much easier. Okay. Second part, or second step to social media excellence, is commenting, right? You have to have a commenting strategy, and commenting is super important for your social media success, right? You can't just be a passive user on social media. You know, one of them people who just keep scrolling, right? Because nobody sees that you scroll past their post. I don't see that you scroll past my post, but I see when you comment, right? So if you want to grab people's attention, you need to be an active user on social media, which means leaving love hearts on, leaving likes, leaving ha-has, and also commenting, right? Make sure that you comment. You know, they say content is king. Well, engagement is the queen, right? So you have to be engaging and have a commenting strategy. You know, so one of the strategies or techniques that Fraser teaches is toilet technique, right? So everybody goes to toilet, right? So when you go to toilet, have your phone with you, right? And comment on 15, 20 posts, depending on how long you're in the toilet, right? And this way you start engaging with other people, right? Also, I really like the 5-5-5 strategy, right? So 5 by 5 by 5. What is this 5 by 5 strategy? Well, first 5 is you need to find 5 Facebook groups that relate to your product or relate to your hobby or to something that you like, right? So if it's related to products, so it could be to do with beauty, right? Because we have beauty products. It could be health, because we have health products. It could be to do with home, because we have etc. Right? So you could find a group that has something to do with the product, or you could find a group that has something to do with your likes, with your hobbies, right? Maybe you like fishing, maybe you like golf, maybe you like dancing, maybe you like, you know, rock climbing, maybe you like Zumba or whatever. So you can join groups where you're going to find similar people to you, right? So 5 different groups. Then in those 5 groups, find 5 posts in each group that are interesting to you, right? That piques your interest, that grabs your attention, right? Not some just advertising post or whatever, but something that is interesting, right? And then on each of those 5 posts, leave a comment of 5 words or more. So don't just put something like, oh, super, you know, smiley emoji, right? Put something meaningful, right? Put a meaningful comment under it, 5 words or more, right? Because that will catch person's attention, right? Because they'll go, oh, this person actually spent the time to leave a proper comment, to say something meaningful, right? And do that and see what happens. You know, too often we think that the only way to use groups is to go into group and spam, right? Put your advertisements, put your posts, etc. But you could actually go into group and actually contribute to the group by being an active user, by engaging into different posts. And guess what's going to happen? When you engage on those posts, the post author obviously will notice you, so you could start a conversation with them, or maybe even other people who will like that post will see your comment. You know, I had one of my ladies do this on one of the posts in a group that she's in, and she's got 500 likes on her comment. That's 500 potential conversations that she could now have, because she could message each of those people saying, hey, Marike, thanks for liking my comment. How's it going? Did that resonate with you, right? Did you find it interesting, right? And she could start conversations, because remember, the goal on social media is not to sell something straight away, is to start a conversation, right? So you need to do everything you can to start as many conversations. And there's no better way of starting conversation when somebody likes or comments on your stuff, because that gives you an excuse to message that person, right? So do some commenting, right? And you probably like other people to comment on your posts, so you have to give what you like to get, right? If you're not commenting on other people's posts, why would they come and comment on yours, right? So it's just common sense. Next one, the third one, is connecting. Step 3 is connecting. Right, so you need to be connecting with people, right? And there's a strategy that Fraser teaches called FAM, right? Find, add, message, right? So you find somebody who you genuinely like, a person, not just randomly adding, every single person on Facebook, but actually adding somebody who you like, who you truly would love to have in your team, somebody who you truly would like to work with. And again, where could you find them? Again, maybe in groups that have related topics to the products, maybe in groups that are to do with your hobbies, etc. Right? Maybe in groups where your potential team members would be. What would your ideal team member read? What would your ideal team member? Who would your ideal team member follow? What type of groups would they be in, right? Maybe personal development groups. Maybe they would follow Tony Robbins. Maybe, you know what I mean? So think about where could you find, where does your ideal customer or ideal business partner lives on social media, and can you go out there and find them, right? So you find that person, you add them, right? You send them a friend request, and when they accept it, you message them, right? And you start a conversation. Now, will each of those conversations lead to a sale or a recruit? Of course not. But unless you start those conversations, it's definitely not going to lead anywhere, right? So you need to be talking to people who like things that you like, who are similar to you, etc., right? Because it'll be easier for you to start a conversation, right? And you can even engage with people if we're talking about groups, different groups to do with health, nutrition, beauty, your hobbies, etc. You can actually go into those groups and, for example, see who are active people in the group, who are posting like meaningful, useful content, and then maybe engage on a couple of their posts before sending them a friend request. Because then that person will be more likely to accept your friend request when they remember, oh yeah, she commented on my post yesterday and the day before, etc. Yeah, I'd love to connect with her, right? So think about who could be your next superstar, and you might be just one click away from your next leader just by adding them and starting to talk to them, right? The number 4 is communicating, right? So communicate with people, right? Build a relationship, right? Because social media is a relationship site, right? So we need to be building relationships with people, right? And like Fraser says, MLM is a shipping business, right? Why? Because we have friendships, we have relationships, we are in entrepreneurship, right? We have leadership, we have some hardships, right? And we have and some people will jump the ship, right? And ship happens, right? So it's all about shipping, right, in this business. So think about how could you communicate with people once you've reached out to somebody, once you started a conversation. What could you talk about? And Fraser uses this acronym LORD, right? L stands for location. So you might speak to that person because they live in the same city as you do, or maybe they live somewhere where you're going to go on holiday eventually, right? Or whatever, right? So it could be to do with location. It could be O is occupation, right? You might be talking to them because of a job they do. Maybe in their profile they say that they are a teacher, and you might reach out to them and start talking to them about them being a teacher, and eventually come to telling them that, hey, by the way, teachers do extremely well in our business because teachers are very patient. They explain everything very clearly, and I think you could do very well in our business, and start that type of conversation. R is recreation, right? What do they do on the free time? So maybe you found them on a group to do with fishing, with hiking, with running, with underwater chess or whatever, right? So you might talk about that, recreation, free time. What do they like? Do they like that hobby because you like that hobby and you've got something to talk about, right? And D stands for dreams, dreams, goals, ambitions, right? So what are their ambitions? What are their goals? What are the, lead the conversation there, because guess what? If you find somebody's dreams, if you find somebody's desires, you have something to talk about now, and you can show them how this business perhaps could help them to get to those dreams, right? Or you could even ask them, do you have a plan how to make that dream into reality? And if they don't have a plan, you could say, well, would you like me to share one with you that might help you, right? And then the final step for the excellence on social media is closing, right? Closing, what does it mean? It means helping people to make a decision, right? Because too often people do social media without understanding why they do certain things, right? So like, oh, I've seen people do content, right? So I'll be doing content too, right? But without actual purpose, without some direction, right? And I see quite often where people heard that they have to be doing social media, that they have to be producing content, so they start doing it, but there's no strategy behind it. It's not on purpose, right? So what's the purpose of your social media strategy, right? Well, probably you want to get customers, you want to get team members. So how are you doing it? How are you getting closer to that in your social media, right? And one of the things that helps to be on purpose is calls to action. Too often we do a video and we just finish saying, oh, thanks for watching, bye, right? Or we do a post, which is amazing post, but we just finish it off like a post, right? But what marketers do, they put calls to action at the end, right? So don't assume that your viewer or your audience will know what to do. Don't assume that they'll know to message you if they're interested. Don't assume that they will know to comment if they're interested, right? Because people's attention span is like that. So by the time they finish reading your post, they go, oh, squirrel, and they forgot that they were supposed to do something with your post, right? So you need to give them a call to action, telling them what you want them to do, right? So if this resonates with you, drop me a comment. If you like what you heard, send me a message. If this sounds like something you'd like to know more about, join my private group or whatever, right? Give them a call to action, give them an instruction. What do you want them to do, right? And once they reach out to you, and once you've sent them, the presentation, and they've seen information about the business, then always at the end, after they've watched the presentation, always ask them, what did you like the best, right? Because you want to find out what did they like from the presentation, but also you want them to sell the business to themselves. Right? You don't want to be selling the business to them. You want them to be selling it to themselves. And how best we can make them sell it to themselves? By asking them, what did you like? And when they start telling you all the things they love about the business, what are they doing? They're selling the business to themselves, right? And once they told you all the things that they like, you can give them a statement, not a question, but it's a statement. You say, sounds like you're ready to join. Because they just told you all the things they like about the business, right? So sounds like you're ready to join. And if they're not ready, always you can ask them, do you have any questions before you're ready to join, right? So get them to make a decision, right? They say, no is okay, yes is also okay, but maybes kill the babies, right? So you don't want to get maybe. You don't want to get, I'll think about it. You want to get either yes or a no. And no is okay. If you get a no, just say, hey, no problem, totally cool. Would it be okay if I keep in touch with you, right? Because somebody who says no today might be open in 6 months, in a year, in 2 years, etc. Right? So it's totally fine to get a no from somebody and move on to the next person. But maybe sort of ties you in, and you now go, oh, well, I've got 50 people thinking about it. Well, nobody's thinking about it, right? So better to get a decision there and then.